Hi guys. Okay, so today we're going to be learning something a little bit different. We're looking at the metric system. So I've already explained in the notes that the metric system is used, it's an international system, and it's used with this base 10 concept. And so what we're doing today is we're learning to memorize the regular, most commonly used prefixes in the metric system for chemistry class. So these are our common prefixes. These are the ones that work for us. These are not all of the prefixes. These are not the same ones you'll learn in every class you take. These are just the ones that are meaningful to our class. So we're going to look through them quickly. So the prefixes that we need to know are mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, pico. And I want to start out by pointing out a few things that you may have already noticed. First of all, we have this really weird symbol here. This is called a mu. Mu, like maybe what a cat says, or maybe what a cow says, or it's like an M and a U. So when you're writing it, it's like you're doing a cursive U, right? But then like midway through, you decide to make it an M. So it has like a dippy tail, okay? So it's kind of cursive-y and a dippy tail, and that's the symbol for micro is a mu. So we need to memorize these terms, but before we do it, I want to just like take a second and think about what they mean, okay? So we start here with our base, and when we're looking at the base, our base could be anything. It could be grams or meters or liters or bytes, like a megabyte, kilobyte, right, of with computers. And so we are going to take meter as the base that we are using for this particular exercise. So every little m is because we are using the base of meter. So if you were to change this base for liter or gram, then all of the little m's that I have underlined here, they would all change to an L or a G, okay, depending on what you had changed to. So all of those are representative of meter. So we need to talk about these other things. So mega, the prefix mega, means 10 to the 6th meters. So this is a 1 with 6 zeros, or a million. Okay, a million. So 1 megameter is a million meters. Okay, so this might be something we would use to measure distances in space, right? Distances that were really quite large, a million meters. Very, very large number. Kilometer is 10 to the 3 meters. So this is 10 or 1 with 3 zeros after it, or 1,000. So a kilometer, if you go running and you run a kilometer, like a 5K or a 10K, if you go run a 5K, that is 5,000 kilometers that you have just gone to run. So 1,000 is our kilo, okay? So now once we get to the base, everything that's below the base is smaller than the base. So everything down here is getting smaller, and everything up here is getting larger. Okay, so everything down here is getting smaller. So 1 meter is 10 to the 1, or 10 decimeters. Like a decade has 10 years. Okay, a decimeter is broken into 10 pieces. A centimeter, so that would be a 1 with 2 zeros. 100 centimeters in 1 meter, okay? You can do millimeters as 1,000, micrometers is back at 1,000,000, and 1,000,000,000 and 1,000,000,000,000. And so once you're getting down to a picometer, you're gonna have to take a regular meter stick or a yardstick 3 feet, and you're gonna have to cut it into 1 with 12 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A trillion little pieces. And so when we're talking about a picometer, we're talking about something very, very small. we're going to be dealing with nanometers and picometers when we're talking about the wavelengths of light coming up in a future chapter. So we're talking about very, very tiny things. So the prefix system is a way to represent very large and very small numbers by using either a prefix, right, that's what this is, a prefix, or an exponent to represent those very large and very small numbers. I just realized you can't see that. A prefix or an exponent. So we are using these systems to represent numbers in a simple way. So instead of writing out 1/1,000,000th of a meter, I can just write 1 picometer, 1 times 10 to the 12th meters. So we can we can use these numbers to represent really large or really small values. What you're going to see is in a lot of books and in a lot of places, they use negative exponents here. And that's not wrong, okay? That's not a wrong thing to do. But I have actually set this up a little bit differently in order to help with the math that we're going to do later, converting. I have chosen to go with all positive exponents, no negative exponents. This is something that if you were finding this video and you're not in my class, you might think, I'm not sure if that's the way my teacher does it. But you can believe me that this way works. This is the right way that math works. We've done 1 meter and 10 to the 3 millimeters as opposed to writing it any other way. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to erase this whole thing and we're going to practice writing it down ourselves. But I want to look at 2 patterns before we do that. The first one is these prefixes. We got to learn these in order, okay? So a student, Ian Rivera, a long time ago, gave me a way to remember these. And what he says is, my kitten, are you with me so far? MK, my kitten, doesn't call me Mr. Nano Pico. It's not a particularly brilliant one, sorry Ian, but I've never really heard a better one, so we'll just go with it, okay? My kitten doesn't call me Mr. Nano Pico. And so that's how we're going to remember the order of the bases that we need to learn for this class. The other pattern I want you to see is as we look at the exponents, and we go down, they go 1, 2, 3, and then we count by threes, 3, 6, 9, 12. So on this side, our exponents go 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. And then moving up, we just go 3, 6, just counting by our threes as we go up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to erase this whole thing and we're going to start new and we're going to draw out the whole entire metric system, the whole entire system of prefixes. Okay, so if you're following along at home, I'm going to want you to be writing along with me right now. And the reason that I'm having you do that is because this particular metric system chart that I use is not necessarily found on the internet. So if you're learning the way that I teach this math, which obviously you are because you're trying to pass my class, and on the day of the test, you go to look up a conversion factor, you may very well look up the wrong conversion factor and get the problem wrong. We don't want to do that, okay? So please, please write this down with me, have it with you for the test, be ready to have everything exactly, precisely, and accurately written down on this chart. So you need a fresh, clean piece of paper, and you're going to start a few lines down because remember the base is, it's not in the middle, but it's definitely not the top of the chart. So we're going to start with our base here, okay? So this is our base unit, and in this case, we already did meter, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use gram as our base, okay, grams. So we're going to start by writing in our prefixes. So remember, it goes, my kitten doesn't call me Mr. Nano Pico. Okay, so my kitten doesn't call me Mr. Nano Pico. And so M is for mega, K is for kilo, D is for deci, C for centi, M for milli, M for micro, or remember that's a mu, right, like a cat would say, nano, and pico. So once we've gotten this far, congratulations, you're doing great. Now we need to write in their symbols. So I'm going to start writing them in and saying them. So mega is M, kilo, K, deci, D, centi, C, milli, M, micro, mu, nano, N, pico, P. One thing people always ask me that is a small k, that's a lowercase k. I don't have, like if it were handwriting, I guess you would do it like that, but I don't really have like a lowercase k that I use, so that's a lowercase k. Okay, so it's a small for Q. Okay, so now we're gonna fill in our bases. So remember, everything on this side is gonna get a 1. So we're gonna go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And we're gonna go equals. We're gonna leave space to write a unit because we need to be able to write a unit. 10, 10, 10, all the way down, tens. Okay, so now comes the tricky part. Okay, this is the trickiest part. Remember that above the base, we get megagram and kilogram are going over there, okay? And then this is going to be just grams. But below the base, it's always 1 gram. Now we fill in our exponents. So remember our pattern, right? So this is 3, 6 up top, right? We just count by threes. And when we go down, we go 1, 2, 3, and then count by sixes. 3, 6, 9, 12. And then all of these get the symbol decigram, centigram, milligram, microgram, nanogram, picogram. They all get the symbol of the prefix that was with them. And just like that, you have memorized, written down, and have the metric system. And so now, starting with our next video, we're going to start using this metric system to solve actual problems.